From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, carrying on traditions even during a pandemic. Changes are necessary, but there will still be gifts under the tree thanks to law enforcement officers. And beware of a new phone scam targeting Amazon customers. What you need to know so you don't waste your money. Chris.
Topping our lineup, 2020's provided a number of challenges for families nationwide. And with 2021 nearly upon us, we're taking a look at just how this year could impact your tax returns. Imagine this, 6 kids under one roof, all taking part in remote learning. One family sharing the challenges that they are facing amid this pandemic and the impact that it's having on their children's education. And there's new hope for people who deal with asthma. The details on a treatment breakthrough and the benefits that it could have for millions of people.
First at 5:30, COVID health and safety restrictions are forcing 2 major December traditions to change course. More than 500 area families count on the annual shopping events sponsored by a number of law enforcement groups. As WRTV's Rafael Sanchez reports, there are no cancellations, just changes.
This was the scene last year at the Trooper Bartram Christmas for Kids event on the south side of Indianapolis. State Police, Southport Police, and others took children in need shopping for clothing and toys. COVID-19 forcing this annual event to change. This year, no mass shopping. A member of law enforcement will be paired with a family and they will coordinate a time that they can go shopping together at any nearby Walmart or Meijer store. If a family is not comfortable doing that, the officer will get the child's wish list, do the shopping, and then make the delivery. This year, each child will be allotted $150. That's $25 more than in 2019. Master Trooper Patrick Etter has already shopped with one family.
We went Christmas shopping and bought her and her son their Christmas this year just to help her out. She'd fallen on some hard times, and which has happened to a lot of people this year with people losing their jobs.
For years, hundreds of kids have benefited from this December tradition, named in honor of State Police Trooper James Patrick Bartram, killed in the line of duty in March 1998.
It's important for us to do just to help our community and give something back to the communities that we serve.
Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
That's amazing stuff. Christmas for Kids is also working with families in New Salem and Hendricks County and with an Indianapolis school committed to helping children with autism. The Indy FOP is also working on new arrangements to serve its families. This is video from 2019. Last year, the event helped a record 350 families, which included shopping, breakfast, and lunch. We're waiting on getting details on the changes due to COVID-19. Kevin.
And Amanda, as long as there is color on the horizon like this, we'll stare at it here as we go into what will be a mild evening after flat-out warm day is the best way to describe it. We missed the record today by 6 degrees, the record set back in 1971. Terre Haute was the warmest in the region, 64 degrees, 4 degrees warmer than Indianapolis this afternoon. Temperatures across central Indiana, 54 now in Indy, 70 in Springfield. Arkansas, 71. That bubble of warmth stays with us for 2 more days. Then it comes crashing down. Clouds will increase tonight. 38 for the low. Overnight low temperatures will be as warm as 48. That's Saturday morning as the storm system's arriving. That will come with rain. Then we're much colder as we get to Sunday. Chris?
Tough truth here. Coronavirus isn't only spreading, it is killing. Because the news feed starts with yesterday being the deadliest day yet amid this pandemic in the United States. More than 3,000 deaths were reported. Well, you can test for COVID at home. The FDA granting emergency use authorization to the first non-prescription, over-the-counter, at-home COVID test. You can order the test on LabCorp's website. Well, you can buy an at-home test kit from Walmart for less than $100. Now, this one's only being sold online at Walmart.com or Sam's Club. You must have a doctor's order to receive it. You'll receive results via email 24 to 48 hours after the lab receives your test kit.
I am absolutely supportive of getting a vaccine, and I will be the first in line when I am eligible to get one. I believe in vaccines. I believe in the science of vaccines.
Pharmacists will be instrumental in getting the first round of COVID vaccines out, especially for the most vulnerable. Walgreens and CVS have a deal with the U.S. Department of Health to go into more than 50,000 long-term care facilities. Now, both companies are still recruiting pharmacists, nurses, and pharmacy technicians. Now, once the vaccine is more widely available, people will be able to sign up online to get the vaccine at a pharmacy location. Now, Walgreens plans to work with communities to set up COVID vaccine sites in other locations like they do with the flu shot.
We work with churches and local community centers in underserved populations to bring the vaccine to those patients that would, need them.
Now, speaking of the flu, the pandemic has brought some encouraging news on that front. Walgreens created these map models to show what the flu season has done so far this year compared to last year. There's been far less activity. Walgreens attributes that not only to COVID safety precautions, but to what they call an unprecedented demand for flu shots, which you can still get right now. Now, one of the last in line to get a COVID vaccine will likely be children. That's because early trials didn't include kids. Although today Moderna announced that it is starting its vaccine trial on adolescents here in the U.S. Pfizer already started including children in October. Many health experts have said just vaccinating adults would not be enough to end the pandemic. All right, next on our line, filing taxes can already be a tough task. But what will next year's process look like with the pandemic? We're going to get answers. We're going to the experts to get you answers as 2021 quickly approaches.
Have you ordered anything from Amazon lately? Consumer reporter John Matarese explains the new way scammers are placing you in their crosshairs so you don't waste your money.
Many of us have been ordering hundreds of dollars of merchandise on Amazon the past few weeks. Well, scammers know that, and they're now targeting us with some very slick calls. Amazon customers across the country are getting calls this holiday season about a problem with a recent order. Sometimes it's a male voice.
That order seemed to be fraudulent. Press 1 to talk with Amazon fraud department executives.
Sometimes it's a woman.
Speak to an Amazon service manager by pressing 1.
In some cases, they claim your order didn't go through. In other cases, they claim you owe $800. If you press 1, a live agent will ask for the credit card number attached to your account. Don't do it. This is a scam. Amazon will email you personally with your name if there is an account issue. You will not get a robocall. Still not sure? We'll ask them to read you your account number and address. Chances are they can't do that. As always, don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese, WRTV.
The millions of people who are unemployed this year may want to start planning now for tax season. Unemployment income is taxable, and if you didn't already choose to have those taxes taken out, CPA tells us there are other options. You could get ahead of it, make an estimated tax payment for the fourth quarter. The drop in income may also mean you're eligible for other deductions and credits, like the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Child Independent Care Credit.
That's an income-based one that's based on a sliding scale, depending on how much you make. So if you made less money, you could see more of that.
Questions on stimulus payments will also be part of your tax return. That money's not taxable. If you got too much, you don't have to pay it back. But if you didn't get the amount that you're eligible for, you can get it as a recovery tax rebate. Now, while working from home, some people stayed in other states, and that could potentially put you on the hook for 2 state tax returns, depending on how long you stayed there. That's because of the 2017 tax law. Deductions for working from home will mostly only apply to those who are self-employed. Self-employed workers could also be eligible for new credits. You can claim them when you file or estimate those credits and keep them in your pocket now.
If you were sick or you took care of someone that was sick or took care of a family member, they're the qualified sick and family leave credits, and they can be worth thousands of dollars.
The IRS has not said when the tax filing season will open, but it is usually in early January. Now, still ahead in our lineup, 6 kids under one roof, all taking part in remote learning. One family shares the challenges that they're facing in this pandemic and the impact that it's having on their children's education. Let's start the news feed. A cruise ship in Singapore had a COVID false alarm. This Royal Caribbean ship had a passenger test positive, but they later found out that test was false. The ship was on day 3 of its 4-day cruise when it had to return to port. Google's trying to stop the spread of misinformation about a COVID vaccine. So it's launching knowledge panels that will carry correct information that you'll see when you're online. Right now, you'll only see it in the UK. That's where a vaccine is being distributed right now, but it will expand elsewhere. Well, the World Health Organization certainly has been busy with COVID, but it is still trying to stop people from smoking. Commit to Quit is the name of its new campaign to try and get 100 million people to stop smoking in the next year. Earlier this month, the March of Dimes reported that the preterm birth rate in the U.S. increased by more than 10% for the 5th year in a row. For parents of premature babies, it's an emotional journey filled with anxiety and helplessness. Now, one couple is on a mission to give back in the name of their miracle baby. Usher Qureshi has more.
2 years ago, little Bryce Harshfield came into the world.
He is a miracle baby.
Born at 24 weeks, he weighed just 1 pound 5 ounces.
He was so tiny, and in those first initial days, they have to prepare you for the worst.
He was tiny, about 12 inches long, fragile.
I couldn't hold Bryce for 11 days, and that was the hard part.
The doctors and the nurses are amazing, but sometimes things were just out of anybody's control.
It was a precarious time. For 5 months, nurses in the neonatal intensive care unit had to mimic for Bryce being in the womb.
Keeping the lights down low, keeping it low stimulation. So we tell these parents how to interact and what to do, and don't touch them too much.
One thing the Harshfields could do was read.
Reading helps promote brain development, helps them get acclimated with our voices, helps you as a parent when you feel like you can do nothing.
Now the Harshfields are collecting books. A lot of books for their NICU, a way to help other parents and premature babies.
Say hi.
The book drop-offs have also become mini reunions. Bryce's nurses get to see the tiny baby they helped grow into a little boy. It's a gift in Bryce's name.
We're hoping that with the NICU families that they'll take away having that memory that lasts a lifetime and cherishing those moments and reading those books.
Next up, a foundation. A way to bring books to NICUs across the country. Large donations are already coming in. It's a holiday mission during a global pandemic, one they are intent on fulfilling.
Go Bears! The littlest bit makes the biggest difference, and one person can make a difference.
Reporting from Chicago, I'm Usher Qureshi.
And there is still time to donate to the 20th annual WRTV Toy Drive. We are working with community partners to make sure every child in Central Indiana has a gift to open this holiday season. You can drop off new unwrapped toys at 17 used store locations or make a monetary donation from your phone. Go to WRTV.com/Toy Drive for more information. You can also donate at Friday's Indy Fuel home opener. The annual teddy bear toss will look a little different this year to follow COVID safety guidelines. Fans can toss stuffed animals into bins in the lobby instead of onto the ice, but I will still be skating with Nitro. We hope to see you there. Kevin.
And Amanda, you're in the one spot that has ice. You can't find December ice right now in the Hoosier State, so you can in Farmers Coliseum. As promised, I'm hanging with this until we don't see any more orange glow. That's the western horizon. Indiana's had just a great day. Temperatures within a handful of degrees of record temperatures. Want to show you what's happening nationally. You can see the warmth from the Gulf Coast and Texas spreading all the way into the southern Great Lakes. But see the darker blues back to the west? That colder air will sweep in here on a Sunday. Temperatures range from 50 degrees in northern Indiana to the mid-60s down along the Ohio River. People out playing basketball today, outside goals. I know one person that mowed the lawn. Temperatures, they're in the mid-50s during the morning hours tomorrow, or at least by noon tomorrow. Then in the afternoon, the biggest change, the temperature will feel about the same, but it won't be as bright and sunny. Clouds will increase out ahead of the storm system that brings rain overnight Friday and a wet first half of Saturday. Saturday's rain is most likely through about noon or 1. 55 Saturday, and then that happens. Temperatures go to 38 for the high, much colder to end the weekend and begin next week. Chris?
Many schools across the country are moving to remote learning as COVID cases continue to break records. Alexa Liaco met with a family with 6 children that is getting ready for a winter all together at home.
It's time for music! The Robinsons' home is now a cafeteria.
How many do you want?
152. A classroom. And I don't even know where London went. And a gym. Hand down to the side. The family's 6 children are in 5 different grade levels, spanning from kindergarten to high school. At the beginning of the school year, some of the kids did in-person learning for part of the week.
I was very grateful when they were able to go to school.
But with COVID-19 cases spiking this winter, all 6 are indefinitely back to remote learning.
Your thing isn't working?
The decision dropped a heavy weight on mom Alexi Robinson.
I was like, close the restaurants, close the malls, close everything. Just please, let's keep the kids in school, because it's just so hard. It's so hard and so frustrating that I just want to just break down and cry.
Robinson and her husband both work full-time to support their family.
I leave before they're awake. My husband's gone sun up to sundown every day.
Robinson says her older kids have been taking on the teaching role while she and her husband aren't home.
How long's your break?
I couldn't do it without him. But then I don't want them to suffer either. They get reprimanded by their teachers, you know, if they're late or if they're, you know, leave for a second. So it's hard.
Riker, a freshman in high school, and Hallie, a 6th grader, say they're struggling in their own classes just to help their siblings.
You just can't focus. Like sometimes you're on remote by yourself and you still can't focus.
Right.
But you know, when there's kids around, it's noisy. They're like, hey, can you answer this question? It's just hard, you know. Just got to understand it's really hard.
They say being both a teacher and a student is taking a serious mental toll.
Because they're so little, like they don't understand when we need to work.
I'm used to being kind of like the oldest, the babysitter and everything, but this is like a whole nother level of just like stress.
It's especially tough because the 2 youngest children are in special education for speech therapy.
I think it's harder for them, you know, to stay caught up without that extra, you know, help with the live teachers and stuff, so they all could potentially fall behind.
Put your ruler away, please. Falling behind is a concern for many families across the country.
And you sure that's today, not tomorrow?
Teachers like Lindsay Datko are fighting to help.
Got it. Ow.
If they miss those developmental windows, it will take them years to overcome habits that were poorly formed for the average student. So we will see the effects of this for years to come if we don't act now.
Datko is tutoring students doing remote learning.
Sorry, look at your spelling. You did so good.
And has been working with local leaders for months to give families a chance to choose whether in-person or remote learning works best for their students.
The whole spectrum is struggling, and we can do something. We are pushing for the choice.
The Robinsons are hoping the new year will bring them the choice to send their children to school.
I know that they do a lot better in school. I hope that we can get through it.
Because they're not sure how much longer this homegrown classroom can last.
Just a minute, sweetheart. Mom's trying to figure it out.
I'm Alexa Liaco.
Alexa, thank you. Now, the news feed starts with a drug recall. Pharma company AvCare says that drugs to treat erectile dysfunction and severe depression were packaged together. The drugs are named sildenafil and trazodone. If these drugs are taken together, they can cause health problems. Counterfeiters faking PPE now. Customs found 100,000 fake N95 masks. These masks were headed to healthcare workers on the East Coast, a shipment that was worth around $600,000. Healthcare workers could receive the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines, but only a third of nurses that were surveyed by the American Nurses Association said they would voluntarily take that vaccine. Now, this survey was done back in October. Another third of nurses said that they would not want to take it, and the rest of them said they were just unsure. Well, finally in our lineup, there is new hope for people who deal with asthma. The details on a treatment breakthrough and the benefits it could have for millions of people. The way doctors treat asthma in both children and adults just got a major update.
So one of the goals of our update was to address the issue of who can use intermittent inhaled corticosteroids, and when used, are they as effective as daily use?
Now, speaking to the Journal of the American Medical Association, respiratory experts said the changes in guidelines focus on 6 key areas, including improving asthma diagnosis, management, and treatment. It's the first published update in 13 years. One of the biggest changes is that many patients may not need to use an inhaler every day anymore.
Especially those families who don't necessarily, of younger children, buy into using daily medication when their children are having intermittent symptoms.
The new recommendations for inhaler use vary by age and severity of asthma, so it is important to talk to your doctor about the new guidelines. Asthma affects nearly 5% of adults and 10% of children. During the pandemic, because of the higher death rate of asthma patients from COVID, more people have been seeking treatment for the condition. The average annual cost of asthma per person is more than $3,200. But research has also shown, among other things, regular use of medication and flu vaccines can reduce the chances of someone with asthma being hospitalized, driving up those costs. Now, we've already seen a couple of huge online shopping days with Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but there are more chances to shop the web coming up this month, and that means internet criminals are gearing up. Tomorrow, what you need to do to protect yourself in this 2020 holiday season.
And here we go again. Temperatures tomorrow back into the middle to upper 50s. One change, we'll see more in the way of cloud cover. Clouds lead to rain. We'll talk about when, how it impacts your weekend, and the other big change that's ahead. That's at 6. The news is